Welcome back to another episode of Room Full of Idiots. Wait, Other Side Lifestyle Podcast with Jim and Aram. Today we have a very disgruntled, that's the word we're going with, disgruntled. There's no grundle.
Nope.
And we're in a room full of people that are filled with rage and anger. And our guest today is clearly idiotic. She does not know her blood type, so she does not know how to eat appropriately. And she's just roaming through life, aimless, guessing
Grundleless.
with no grundle, just guessing how she should eat. And that's why she's not successful. But she has figured out if you need to lose 10 pounds for a wedding that you're going to tonight, she has the key. You just have to take her quiz, link in her bio. Did I nail everything?
Right on the money.
I think
that's it. Her name is Samantha Wallace. She's probably, aside from Jimmy's really sterling introduction of her, which is all true, by the way, 100% all true.
We don't lie.
No, there's never there's no sarcasm in the show whatsoever. And
sarcasm's for dumb people.
It is for stupid people. But all sarcasm and kidding aside, Samantha is one of the coaches out there that I've connected with who I think is an absolute breath of fresh air. She is doing things the right way. She's talking about the stuff that needs to be talked about, and she's not afraid of calling people out on their bullshit, whether they're her own clients, whether they're people that are sliding into her DMs. She is going to give people the straight, honest, factual information, and it's a rarity. So thank you for doing what you do, and thanks for coming on today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, and thank you for pioneering and leading the way in that. I think it's amazing that we're stronger together. And unfortunately I can't relate to you knowing your blood type. I don't know mine, but I know that through better knowing our blood types, we can really change one life at a time. Beautiful. And just take my quiz. So
take the quiz. I found out this year that I'm a universal donor. I found that out after over 40 years of living, that what my blood type was.
Do you just choose to give out your blood? We don't really know what comes of that, or
I did. Aram just put his filter on. I was donating blood, and that's when I found out what I had.
I don't think anybody wants either one of our bloods.
My blood's pure, vaccine free. Is for not all vaccines.
We just got canceled. We just got fucking canceled. Great.
Oh no. Great. Luckily, the 12 people that listen every week.
They're all stringent anti-vaxxers and huge Trump supporters.
So, Sam, tell us your feelings on all vaccines, because if you have a feeling about one, you clearly have feelings about all of them. And then also, what's your safe word, which Aram always likes to know. Don't answer either one of those two questions. Aram,
I have a topic that I'm going to kick off our conversation with. So this was provoked probably because I've gotten multiple DMs about this over the last couple of weeks. And as coaches, I think we're all getting these types of DMs. And as clients or as potential users of our information, folks, you have to understand there is no best way to do anything. When it comes to nutrition and training, there are things that we understand scientifically that have been documented to work. There are things anecdotally that we've seen work. And then there's things we have no fucking clue about whatsoever because we haven't seen you as an individual actually do these things. So for us to give you guys any type of actual advice, there's typically a very long intake process of question asking, of understanding what your history was, of understanding all sorts of different variables. So what we're going to talk about is that there is never going to be a one-size-fits-all approach, and that the advice that people get in passing without the support of a coach or without the accountability system set up on the back end is typically going to be the reason why people are frustrated. Sam, is this something that you're encountering as a coach in your DMs, in conversations that you have in passing with people that you meet on the street? Talk about this topic particularly, because I think it's an interesting place to start.
Yeah, this is exactly why I created the quiz, so that you can just head to the link in my bio and solve all of your problems in under 3 minutes and get direct answers.
Perfect.
Now, this is a question that I get all the time, right? And a lot of it equates to people just sliding in looking for a quick fix. And there is no quick fix. If your goal is weight loss and your goal is sustainability in weight loss, if you're constantly looking for a quick fix, you're sitting in between your next rebound and weight gain. And I think that this is extremely important to understand, because there is a lot of research that backs that 80% of individuals who pursue a diet of some kind, it doesn't matter what kind of diet it is, whether you choose keto, whether you choose carnivore, whether you choose vegan or Beachbody or South Beach, there's so many out there. 80% of individuals will experience rebounded weight gain in the first 1 to 2 years of coming off of that diet. And they will rebound to the initial weight that they had, if not more, once they have come off of that diet. And
can
the
you
reason,
can you, I was gonna, oh, okay, cool. You're gonna say it. I was gonna cut you off
yeah.
and ask you to explain why that is.
Well, the reason why is because they're not actually changing the behaviors and habits that are leading them to eat the way that they do. And really what it comes down to is changing our lifestyle and our habits and our behaviors. So if you want to break into the 20% or 10%, realistically, I think it's more like 10% of individuals that actually sustain weight loss or sustain the goals that they work towards, you have to be willing to change your lifestyle and you have to be willing to commit to that. And the problem is that a lot of people just don't have a willingness to change. They don't have a willingness to get uncomfortable. They don't have a willingness to go through a little bit of pain and a little bit of sacrifice to get to their goals on the other side. They want it yesterday, and they'll take whatever they can get to get there. And this is what kind of leads into like the macros. And we were talking about this before we hopped on here, but macros is not a one size fits all. And macros is not the answer to all of your problems. And even if I were to, let's say, calculate out somebody's macros and hand them off to them, sure, you may lose a few pounds. They may work for a little bit, right? I mean, that's just data. It's just it's an equation, like 2 + 2 = 4, right? Yep. Sure, if you follow that, you're going to find success. But what happens afterwards? Because eventually you have to adjust those macros. Eventually you have to change the way that you eat. You have to change your eating patterns. You have to change your relationship with food. You have to change your lifestyle at the base of it. So if you're not focusing on any of those things and you're only focused on weight loss, you are going to be a chronic dieter and you are never going to get long-term results because you're constantly stuck in this diet mentality. And that is the fastest way to the bottom, in my opinion. And I know that because I was there for years.
Yeah, I think that we've talked about this before, and you pretty much said it with people not being willing to change their lifestyle. I feel like a lot of people, they'll do these crash diets because they can focus on that. They can deal with that discomfort for a short period of time, but they just want to get back to being able to order out, go out eating and drinking with friends, and do all that stuff, thinking that once I lose the weight, then I can go back to doing all the old lifestyle stuff. And until they really switch that identity in their head, they have no reason to change legitimately, to change the way that they're doing things. That's I think the challenge that a lot of people have.
The issue that I'm seeing, and I agree with you and I agree with Sam, there's a lack of systemization. There's just not a system in place. Like, I don't have a reliable organizational structure. And I know that like that will trigger some of like the disordered eating people and be like, well, how dare you put rules and limitations on food? Like, food should be however you feel. Sorry, folks, we don't live in an environment where we can just eat intuitively, because if I was to eat intuitively, I would be eating fucking Jersey Mike's and Five Guys intuitively all fucking day long.
Our intuition has been hijacked with the food industry.
Right. Like, if it was 100 years ago and all we had access to was like fresh fruits and vegetables and whatever we can kill off the livestock that we had,
grains.
Awesome, because you're not going to overeat that stuff. Like, nobody's coming back and being like, oh yes, please, more basmati rice in portions. Like, they're going to be sitting
Can't get
there
enough
with like I have yet to see a Stacy's pita chip bag or a Popcorners bag that I have not been able to hit the bottom of ever. But I'm not going and cooking more and more and more white rice because I just can't stop eating it. Like, these foods are inherently designed for us to overeat. So we're living in an environment and in a time where we have to have a structure and we have to have a system and we have to have rules and we have to be mindful. Sam, do you think that somebody who has disordered form or eating patterns in the past, they may have had an actual diagnosed eating disorder, they may have been told that they're binge eaters or they're anorexic or bulimic, whatever else, do you think that a structure and a system is still a safe way to approach eating with those types of populations?
Yes and no, because I was one. And I think it really comes down to an individualized basis. And, I kind of like to use the idea of recovery as an intro to this, and it's comparable, right? Like, people hit recovery in eating disorders, and people hit recovery in like substance abuse. And I think that these are two very taboo topics, but in terms of eating disorders, I really think that this is something that needs professional help, and somebody needs to go through the therapy to understand why they are eating disorderly, right? And that's the only way that people are really going to find long-term success, is by working through what is leading them to eat the way that they do, or leading them to avoid the food that they are avoiding. And I know for me, there was this huge fear around food that if I ate, I was going to get fat. And I had this huge fear of gaining weight. And I was more on the anorexic side, and I had bouts of bulimia like back in the day. And I really, really, really struggled with body issue. But what it came down to was I felt so out of control in other areas of my life that were causing me pain, that my body and what I put into it was the only thing that I truly had control over in my life. So of course, if I'm able to restrict foods to manipulate the way that my aesthetic looks, so that I feel that I have more control, I feel worthy, I feel deserving, I feel accepted, then yeah, I'm going to manipulate my food, and maybe I'm going to put further control over that. So I don't think it's a one size fits all. I think if that is something you're struggling with, you need to seek outside help, and you need to really get the tools that are necessary for you to work through some of those deeper limitations and understanding why you eat the way you eat. But if you're someone who is maybe more on the average, and maybe you have a little bit of binge eating tendencies, or maybe you lean a little bit more food avoidant, I mean, those are big differences between a full-blown eating disorder and the average person who maybe restrict some food throughout the week because they're stressed, or because they've got a lot going on, and then hits the end of their day and starts binge eating because they haven't eaten all day. That's a lot different.
Yeah.
That's a lack of self-awareness.
And understanding that distinction is so, so huge. And back up for a second, because obviously you sound like somebody who's been through the professional side of getting dealt with this, right? Like you've had to deal with people professionally to deal with these issues. Was it the therapy that got you through the initial stages of that recovery process?
Yeah, I think that therapy really made a big difference, but you also have to be in a position that you're willing to hear some hard truths. And that brings me back to what this really all boils down to for everyone, no matter where you're at in your journey, is that I don't think it's necessarily an issue of people not wanting to make a change. I think it's a societal issue of people not being willing or able to take accountability for their actions. And that's what this comes down to, is accountability and humility in your journey for why do you eat the way that you eat? Why are you unwilling to make changes? Why are you unwilling to change the habits and behaviors that are bringing you here in the first place? And I think we have a victimization problem. I think that that's really what this comes down to, is people like being told what they want to hear, not what they need to hear. And then when they hear the things that they need to hear to insinuate change, no matter how hard that truth is, it's a shot at their ego. And people can't handle that these days, right?
Yeah,
What are you trying? Are you trying?
My fault?
Yeah. What are you trying to say about me? Like everything I just said.
No, directly. It's your fault. It's your fault.
I just told you. I
had a conversation with a lady this morning, and I see this all the time, especially in women. Oh, I can't because my husband doesn't want to diet with me. What? I can't lose weight because my husband cooks and he doesn't want to do it. So, okay. Explain that to me, because I don't get it. Clearly.
Yeah, it's obviously going to be a lot easier if you have support.
Yes.
But to say that you can't, I mean, that's a huge thing that might be, needed for ultimate success, but it's not needed.
But it's direct blame, right? The
Correct.
direct
somebody else's fault.
The direct lack of accountability that you truly don't want to do it because you are awaiting somebody else to do it for you. And so you're allowing your success to lie in the hands of everybody else around you, instead of making decisions for yourself to live the life that you truly want to live, and taking accountability for your health. Because it's a lot easier 10 years down the road, when you're overweight and you don't feel good and you have all these underlying health conditions, to go, well, maybe if my husband would have cooked for me, or maybe if my husband would have gone on a walk, or maybe if my husband would have supported me in this, it's a lot easier to blame the other person than it is to feel that resentment towards yourself for not making a difference.
And I question,
been there.
Yeah, and I question what kind of conversation did they really have with their spouse. It's probably one and done. They said, hey, I want to try to do this. I don't really feel like doing that. Okay, fine. Versus, hey, this is really important to me. I really need your support in this. In what ways are you willing to support me in this? I know that you like to do all the cooking. Can we talk about the way that we're cooking things and stress how important that is? And if your spouse is not supportive of that after having that conversation, then you have to have a different conversation with your spouse about their ability or level of support that they're providing you for something that's apparently so important to you.
But Jim, I don't have the time. I got my kids have multiple activities.
Well, then don't worry about it. If you don't have the time, you don't have the time. You just have to give up. Yeah, just give up at that point.
That's what I figured. That's what I figured.
Yeah.
I mean, but no, like in all seriousness though, like this is shit that people don't want to hear because it requires I don't want to say so much effort because it really isn't that much effort to actually be a human being and have a fucking conversation. Like that's really what we're asking you to do here, folks. If this is a category that you fall into, if you tend to be one of these people that don't have support in the home, or, you know, let's say, for example, like your friends are leading you astray and they're, you know, Jim and I talk about this all the time, like live a little, have your fucking 15 cocktails every weekend. You're going to be fine. Like, what's the point if you're just not going to live? Like if you're having these types of messages thrown at you all day, every day, yes, it's going to make life inherently harder. But if you don't speak up for yourself and say, hey, I'm putting my fucking foot down, I need support. If I don't get it, then we're going to have issues elsewhere. I mean, those people are probably already having marital problems in other departments already. If that's the case, let's be honest. Like, I'm sure this is not just it's only with food.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's with how they parent the children. I'm sure it's how they communicate and have intimacy with one another. A lack of communication is going to stem into all sorts of different problems. And if you're not willing to talk about the shit that you suck at and own the stuff that you suck at, you're never going to get rid of the stuff that you suck at.
Yeah. Let's say, how would you deal with that when you do have somebody, maybe it's an initial consult type of thing, or the first time they're reaching out and they're already giving those reasons. This is why, and I want to hire you because I know you can help. This is why I've failed every time in the past. And they're telling you stories like what we just talked about. Is there an approach that you have or how you would handle that?
Yeah, I always say I don't care about what you've tried in the past. I care about where you're at right now. Because clearly what you've tried in the past hasn't worked, because if it did, we wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation.
But it did. I lost 20 pounds when I did keto. So it did work. You're wrong.
Sure. It works like maybe this much, but I focus on sustainability. And so when people come to me, people are coming to me because they want to get off of the hamster wheel once and for all. They're done with these fad diets. They're done with rebounded weight gain. They're done feeling miserable, and they want to be able to sustain it. And to say that sustainability isn't possible or it doesn't exist is completely false, because all three of us are living in sustainability and intuitive eating and not tracking our macros every day and not being confined to this fad diet life. It is possible. And so if people really want to know what the secret to that is, it's one, humility in your journey and changing the things that need to be changed in order to give you that outcome. Two, build enough lean muscle mass to your frame so that your body can work efficiently at rest. And three, don't eat like an asshole every day, period. Yeah. Have some self-awareness, portion control, time management, and preparation. If you can nail those four things, you've just created sustainability for yourself, and you will break the hamster wheel of rebounded weight gain. That is your answer. That is your secret. You utilize macros in a controlled dieting phase to help you reach that aesthetic. You don't stay on macros forever. You utilize a caloric surplus to build more lean muscle mass. And this kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, of there's so much more that goes into what is your secret sauce? What is your secret answer? The answer is self-awareness. You create self-awareness, you open the gates to every single dream that you want to accomplish, the lifestyle that you want for yourself, and that is your ticket to success, self-awareness. You can't get anywhere without the basic premise of self-awareness. And a lot of people walk around asleep.
Yeah. How do we develop that self-awareness for the person who doesn't have it?
Yeah. I think developing that self-awareness, again, comes back to having hard truths and hard conversations. And if you don't know where to start with that, then hiring a coach is your first place. Because you can sit here and Google every answer. You can read every single self-help book. You can hire as many therapists as you want. but that is not going to wake you up to the changes that need to happen. You need somebody that is going to tell you straight up what your problem is without any strings attached. And I tell my clients this all the time. I give you full permission to cuss me out, to hate me, to say every bad word in the book about me, to resent me for a little bit, if it means that it is going to help you change. If it means that it is going to help you become a better person, and I know the outcome that lies from these difficult conversations, I will sleep like a pretty little princess with my head on my pillow tonight, and I will wake up refreshed tomorrow because I know what benefit it's going to provide you in your life. And if you need to hate me for a little bit through that process while I say some hard truths and say some things that are going to make you uncomfortable, that's totally fine. But I'm not the coach, and I'm not the friend, and I'm not the person that is going to sit here and blow smoke up your ass telling you what you want to hear, because that doesn't benefit you and that doesn't help you grow. That gives you somebody to coddle you and somebody to just feed into all of these lies and all of these emotions that you keep telling yourself that are preventing you from becoming the person that you want to be.
Yeah, and I think people forget real quick that they hired us.
Yeah.
Like they hired us for the
Good
change.
job.
Yeah, because sometimes when people hear us, whether we're posting about it or having a conversation like this right now and saying, you change, you, and we're saying what they should, quote unquote, be doing, it's because they hired us. We're talking to the people that want the change. If you don't want the change, we're not talking to you.
Yeah.
If you're not reaching out to a coach and then refusing to listen to them, we're not talking to you. So keep that in mind for anybody who does listen and goes, well, stop trying to force change on me. You're the one who reached out to us.
Right. And nobody is forcing change. What we're really doing is we're providing food for thought, and we're providing perspective so that at some point you see something that you're so ingrained to see on your own because your mind has created all these compensatory patterns to keep you safe and to keep you comfortable. We're just offering a different perspective. We're just saying, hey, I know that you see things this way, but think about it this way for a second. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. If it does, great. Now we can start to move down the road of being a little bit more open-minded about some of these things. Like, a great example of this was a client of mine was having a tough weekend. She's got multiple kids in multiple sports. She had her meal prep bag ready to go, and she fucking forgot it in her house. And now she's at the football game. She's got the hot dogs, the bullshit, and everything else. And she's like, well, I had to eat something. Fine. Down on herself, put on a couple pounds and, weighed herself the next day, which is always the biggest mistake ever. Like, if you ate out that day, just don't get on the scale the next day. It's not going to be your friend. And then she was kind of having this like all day shitty feeling about herself. Finds out later on that day that her neighbor's husband just got diagnosed with cancer. They're super close. Their kids play sports together. And it's like stage 3 or 4. So it's moving fast. The guy's probably not going to be here for very much longer. So now here she is as a mother of multiple children saying that, like, my life sucks. It's so hard. I'm not losing any weight. Just realized that her next door neighbor, who's also a woman, the last thing she's worried about is her fucking belly. When her husband is dying of cancer, has to go through multiple treatments, her kids have to still stay in sports. She has to still uplift the family and stay on top of things. So that little bit of perspective jarred my client back into a place of like, hey, I got this shit. I'm okay. My life is not that fucking hard or that bad compared to what this poor woman's about to have to go through with her life. So those little things are going to appear in our lives all the time. And if they don't appear, because sometimes, people have smooth sailing, understand that whatever you're going through is very individually hard for you, but other people have dealt with it and they've survived already. So take example from them and know that it's okay. You're going to be okay.
Do you, Sam, when it comes to the macro thing, with every new client, do you start with macros to create that awareness? Do you ever start with it, since you're shaking your head? No, that you don't always. Do you ever start with it? What's your approach with that? And what are you trying to teach people when it comes to the idea of macros?
Yeah, very rarely do I ever start a client on macros. It is a one-off situation that I even introduce macros to a client when they first come in. And the reason why is because most people aren't properly taught how to do macros. And if you don't have the foundation of your nutrition in place, macros is a shit show. And people have this idea that if it fits your macros is is macros. And that's not the way that eating works, because from experience, if you want to make 4 Pizookies fit your macros, you can absolutely make 4 Pizookies fit your macros.
Pizookies.
I have done it. Because you get into this delusion and this justification in your head because it's a numbers game, right? So people get into these perfectionism mindsets that like, well, as long as it hits the numbers, it's fine. Well, yeah, but like what nutritional quality does Pizookies or mac and cheese or pizza or the Jimmy John's that you're ordering out, what nutritional value does that have
You
for
stay
your
away
body?
from Jimmy John's, you evil bitch. Don't you fucking go there. You
But
keep
like,
you leave my sandwiches alone, god damn it.
Keep that name out your mouth.
damn it. But what nutritional value does that have for your everyday eating? It probably doesn't have any. Now, what we focus on is a 3-phase approach with our clients. So when they first come in, the first phase that we're doing is rebuilding their foundation of their eating patterns, period. If you cannot eat on a regimented schedule, if you don't have portion control and time management, we have nothing to go off of, because preparation is the number one reason why people fail. If you fail to prepare, you are setting yourself up for failure and forgetting exactly what happened, forgetting your meals, not planning ahead, not being prepared for the weekends. Preparation is everything. Eating on a regimented schedule. If you're skipping breakfast every day, you're averaging 1 or 2 meals a day. What is macros going to fix for you? Macros isn't.
But I'm fasting. I'm intermittent fasting.
Get out of here with that bullshit. I can't.
Fucking love this. This is so good.
I fast between every meal.
I fast between every meal as well. And I've actually fasted since last night up until 6 a.m. this morning.
Yeah, I fast every night. Yeah.
Yeah. If you could believe it, I didn't eat anything overnight at all.
I didn't eat anything
Nothing.
between my meals today.
Wait.
Didn't?
Yeah.
Are you telling me that you have healthy sleep patterns?
No. It's I usually take a Dilaudid right before bed and I try to just fucking kill myself.
He's in a building phase, so he actually has an IV of a protein smoothie.
Oh.
And it just kind of gets in, or he has this tube that he sticks down his throat and then it slowly drip feeds him throughout the night.
But only casein protein, because that's slower digesting and that's proven to be better for you.
Yeah.
Right.
And he used to feed his mom when she was sleeping so that she gained weight, and then he would make fun of her for her weight to create some kind of an eating disorder. That was his first client. He's a really sick and twisted dude. You want to watch out for him.
Psychological warfare, long game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, we have to keep our clients reliant on us, or else how are we ever going to maintain a business model?
Yeah. So right before they're up for renewal, you just up their calories a little bit so they gain weight, and then they have to reassign you.
Yeah, exactly. We got to come out of the deficit, and then
cardio.
He goes, listen, reverse dieting. Reverse dieting's a myth. We're gonna go an extra 800 calories right off the bat. Really stabilize your hormones. They gain weight, and he's like, all right, contract's up. You know what to do, right? And then they go, no, I just gained a bunch of weight. And he's like, listen, we can go month to month and continue this process to kind of really get you balanced out. It's a great strategy. It's a great strategy. Yeah.
That's basically what my business coaching principles are all about. So if you want to sign up, it's $30,000.
Yeah, it's at yo-yo dieting forever. Yeah, yo-yo-dietingforever.com is his website. It's great. It's great.
When you can stay sick.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
When you talk about the meal schedule, I was just having this conversation with a couple clients recently. What kind of schedule are you looking for the average person?
Yeah, we usually recommend 2 breaths of air and an ice cube a day is usually, pretty solid for people really get you into that fasting state. No, I'm just kidding. Nice. No, but really refining your schedule. So like this goes back to our first phase of working with clients before we even enter them into a macro approach. So we start them on templates. And the reason why we start our clients on templates is because it takes the guesswork out of eating. And that's usually the number one problem with individuals is I don't know how to eat. I don't know what to eat. And so let us take the guesswork out so that you can create a consistent routine, right? And maybe for some individuals, we set a goal for their first 4 weeks, and that's, hey, we're only going to focus on prioritizing breakfast. Anything after that is a win. It's a bonus. It's a goal that you've hit. And sure, that may not be as aggressive as an approach for That might not be as aggressive as an approach that other coaches like to take, but we are not that all in, all out coaching mentality team. That's not who we are. I've been there. I've been on that side. I think it can be effective for some people if that's what you're looking for and that's what you need. That's not who we help. That's not what we do. So I like to be very clear in that before people get their panties in a wad and then they start coming at me about how, well, you have to be super hard on them. That approach doesn't work for everyone. And it hasn't worked in the past. If they're landing in our laps, what they really need is confidence. And so what we really need to build back is the confidence. So if you feel confident in waking up and making a small decision with breakfast, whether that's just eating a banana or getting a little protein shake in, awesome. That is going to take a client 10 times further in their health and fitness journey than someone who tells them that they have to be perfect in a meal plan. Because most people's goal isn't to have a shredded six pack. They just want their jeans to fit. They want to not feel like shit after they go out to eat at a restaurant, and they want to be able to create balance and moderation and not beat themselves up internally every step of the way. That's the average person. That is 90% of the population. But I think with social media and bodybuilding and the platform that it's given a lot of people, who shouldn't have who probably shouldn't be giving advice and direction about health and fitness goals a platform. And that's made it very confusing and very hard for the average person. So if your goal is to create a more consistent routine and schedule, then we have to focus on what's obtainable to you and your life, not what's obtainable to my life and what my standards for you are. It's what your standards are. If you're a busy mom who has kids that are in after school sports, then cooking a whole home dinner every night is not the answer to your weight loss. I'm sorry, if you expect a mom with 4 kids to come home and fresh cook dinner every single night for herself to fit her macros, you are out of your fucking mind. That is not going to happen for the average mom. She's got too much going on.
Yeah, it's always funny to me, like, where people are always saying, well, people just want to look good naked. I'm like, most people just want to look good with their clothes on.
Yeah, let's forget about naked. They're so terrified of being naked. They haven't been naked in years.
It's like, just focus on that. You don't have to look good naked so that you can have a new IG of your fitness page. Just get to the point where you're comfortable in your clothes.
Yeah, we'll approach that later on. That's fine. That'll come. That's a byproduct of doing the work that gets you to feeling good inside of your clothes. And then looking good naked comes as a secondary to that. And anybody can try and challenge my opinion on that, but I do this for a living and I've seen it firsthand. I know that it works. And that really leads me into the second step is once we've really established that schedule, that routine, that foundation around eating, then you can start moving into macros, because macros is a stepping stone to a place of intuitive eating. You're not going to log track and weigh your food forever, but it can be utilized as a tool to help give you back decision making around your food, and also educating you in the process of why you're choosing the foods that you're choosing and how they are impacting your body. So sure, you can make anything fit your macros as much as you want, but do you understand what kind of carbohydrates you're choosing? Do you understand where to place those appropriately in your day so that you can get the most out of your training? Do you understand what kind of protein options you're choosing and why they're benefiting your body? Do you understand why you're eating, over 60 grams of fat a day? Do you understand why you're eating 130 grams of carbs a day? Do you understand why you're eating 0.8 grams of protein per day for your body weight? And most people can't answer that. Yeah. And that is why they should not be pursuing macros, is because they don't understand the basis of what their nutrition is actually doing for them. So when we get a person back to a place of sustainability with their eating, we want them to go into the real world knowing what we know so that they can make the best decisions for themselves so they can maintain their weight loss. And that comes with learning how to build our plate, understanding our emotional cues, understanding why we eat the way we eat, and what our decision making around food is. And that's about a 12-month process from the get-go. And most people want to solve that in 90 days to 16 weeks, and it's just not going to happen. You have to learn to lift your head before you can push yourself up, before you can roll over, before you can stand up, before you can walk, and then start running, right? But most people just want to skip all of those phases and they just want to hit the ground running without any basic understanding of what needs to be changed first to allow them to get to that place. They just compare their first 30 days or their first 6 months to somebody's 10th year, and they have an unrealistic expectation of that's where I'm going to be in 6 months from now.
Yeah. And people with if it fits your macros, they'll do they might do this on their own, do their macros at a low calorie range, and they're starving. And they're starving because they're not eating high quality food. So now in their head, they're already thinking, well, 1,300 calories, 1,400, whatever is considered 1,200 calories, if it's considered low. is unrealistic for them, where when they do start to learn to eat real foods, whole foods, they're going to be much more full. I mean, how many times have all of you heard somebody say, I'm eating more than I ever have and I'm losing weight? They're eating less calories, but more food because it's high quality. So I think it's vital, even if a coach is teaching you macros, that they should be pushing quality macros. Even if somebody's starting you off with macros, if you have a coach that's like, just fit, yeah, oh, you need more carbs, drink some apple juice at the end of the day. If they're just telling you that kind of stuff and ignoring food quality, then find a different coach. And if you're a coach doing that, fucking quit.
And also,
quit.
yeah, they should definitely quit. The thing that I think is really important about what Sam said too is this idea of learning to crawl before you learn how to walk, before you learn how to run. Like, it's not fun to pay somebody money and then to be told that you have this massive learning curve. I'm sure that nobody that enters into this type of a relationship is thrilled to hear, I'm going to be spending $400 a month for the next year. And what I want to say about that is that, and why I don't always agree with this idea. Well, if you don't spend the money now on your health, you're going to spend it on the back end, because you might not be.
Yeah, you might just die really quick and early, and then you're fine.
Or you might not be somebody who's going to have any type of disease whatsoever,
Sure.
And you'll be totally fine. You'll live to 90, and you won't ever need any medication. Whatever. I'm not concerned about that. But what I am concerned about is, on a daily basis, are you feeling happy? Are you somebody who's in a good mood? Are you a positive person? Are you feeling confident? Are you fulfilled? All of these things that I think people who feel like they're in control, like they're in the driver's seat, like they're the ones who are making decisions to steer the direction of their life. If you don't feel like that, do you not think that working with somebody for a year or 2 years or however long it's going to take for you to build that level of acumen, confidence, and self-sustainability and sufficiency, don't you think that investment is worth it? And Sam, how many times are you having that conversation with people where you're like, the price is what it is. This is going to take as long as it's going to take, but I'm going to be there for you every step of the way. Are there still people that are hesitant or resistant to it because they're interested in this thing, but they're not truly fully committed to actually doing it?
Yeah. I've actually had a lot of these conversations recently, and you know, it's hard. It's hard when you know what that person is going to accomplish and what lies on the other side for them. And the truth is that some people think they're willing to change. Some people think that they're ready for a change and they're really not. And they get scared and they back out. And all I can say is that if you're constantly looking at your health as an expense or something being expensive, you're not truly taking an opportunity to invest in yourself. And there's a difference, right? Because the way I look at it is, if I want to make $1 million, I'm not going to go hire somebody who hasn't made $1 million to teach me how to make $1 million, right? You don't know how to do it. You haven't done it yet. So how are you going to give me any sort of advice on how to make $1 million when you don't even know how to make $1 million?
It's the same thing with like a young coach who's always had a good body, never struggled with disordered eating. And you think, oh, well, they can get me to look like them. They have no idea how to get you, who has struggled with these things, to this place, because they never had to struggle with it. So being born with $1 million, you still are not in a place to teach somebody how to make $1 million.
Well, and here's the bottom line. People hire people. And this is why people fail with fucking coaches. And I see it all the time. And this is actually a question that I started asking in my applications with people, or in my consults with people, because I don't just take everyone. I turn people away all the time. I'm like, we're not the right fit for you as a team, because I'm not here to waste your time and I'm not here to waste your money. I'm here to get you results and I'm here to change your life. I've had clients that have filed for divorce after completing our programs. I've had people that have left careers, started their own businesses. I've had people that have gone back to school. I've had people that have literally changed their entire identity and who they are, because fitness gave them the self-confidence to finally say yes to their life instead of hiding in this shell of a person, right? And that's what I provide for my clients. Now, I'm not saying like you're going to come to me and you're going to get divorced, but like some people wake up and they're like,
But
wow,
you're empowering people to change.
they're like, wow, I'm really miserable, and I've had clients that have literally gotten the confidence to propose to their girlfriends, to propose to their respected people. And I've been bridesmaids in my clients' weddings because I've been able to help them gain back their lives and their confidence and build relationships. I'm in the business of relationships, right? But here is the point I was trying to get at. The point I'm trying to get at is that when you are going to hire a coach, you need to make sure that they align with what it is you are looking to accomplish. Because so many times I hear people say, well, I was working with this other coach. Well, hold on. Let's give that coach the benefit of the doubt, because I have had people come to me recently and they're like, well, this is what I'm on. I'm on a reverse diet. I'm doing this. I'm blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, your coach is doing the right thing. And I validate what their coach is saying. And they almost get like pissed off because it's not what they want to hear. And like, the coaches aren't always the issue. There's amazing coaches out there, but you may not be working with someone that aligns with the goals that you have for yourself. If I'm trying to compete in bodybuilding, I'm not going to go hire a powerlifting coach to take me to becoming an IFBB pro. You get what I'm saying? If I want to lose 30 pounds and I want to learn how to sustain that, I'm not going to go hire a bodybuilding coach to teach me how to eat like a normal person, because then you're going to get disordered eating. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I think that responsibility, and I think it's kind of like a buyer beware situation. This falls on the
beware.
And it does. There's multiple levels of responsibility here. There's the responsibility of the professional putting out realistic information and putting out appropriate information to their audience specifically, if they know their audience at all. So that's one part of the responsibility. If you're a bodybuilding coach, stay in your fucking lane. If you're a lifestyle coach, stay in your lane. Be honest about what you provide and the things that you're able to do. So that's number one. Number two, as a consumer of this information, if you're bouncing from page to page to page to try to find that boogeyman that you've been looking for, to find that silver bullet solution, then maybe you're the problem. Maybe it's not that the coaching is flawed or the systems are fucked up. It's maybe because you're unrealistic about what you're able to do and what you're willing to put into this process. Maybe you've been looking at information that doesn't apply to you whatsoever. And at some point, you have to vet and audit the stuff that you're looking at to make sure that it's actually tailor-made to speak to you, so that you're actually able to extrapolate what you need from it. Because as an adult, it's your responsibility to hire professionals that you at least see fit your life. And then get on phone with people. Get on the phone with people and talk to them and ask them questions. Don't just be like, I'm making this decision because it's 11 o'clock at night and I saw Sam's post last night and it sparked me to hire a coach and I'm ready to fucking go. And then by tomorrow morning, when my kids are 40 minutes late to school and I woke up 20 minutes late and my husband's not in the house, I've completely forgotten, dismissed that coaching is ever going to be an option for me because I'm just too busy for it.
I think that's when you post the call to action on a Friday or Saturday night.
Absolutely.
Around 10 p.m. Post the call to action. I know you're probably drinking right now and you're sick of the way you keep going through these patterns. DM me, save me for $50 off your first month. And they're like, fuck it, that's time.
It's perfect.
I'll throw in a free Uber.
Free Uber. Yeah, sign up now while you're at the bar and I'll pay for your Uber to get home.
I'll buy your next round of drinks.
Yeah, that's Jimmy John's will be delivered to you.
I will Grubhub your drunken food order when you come home from the bar.
You know what? I'm actually going to try this and report back and see what it does.
Please do it. That would be and then when we're at the conference in March, we could talk about how the best business tactic that nobody's ever used is guerrilla marketing on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights.
I expect credit for this.
We can't forget industry nights, Monday nights, big night.
Oh shit, yeah. But those people don't eat, and they're on so much cocaine that they stay relatively thin anyway.
That's true. That's true.
That's true. I mean, well, if you don't have morals or values, that could be an ideal client avatar for results alone. But that's if you don't have morals and values. Yeah,
your first month you get methamphetamines for free.
And I'm gonna throw in my leftover semaglutide.
Oh.
So you're gonna get your
protocol.
Yeah, you're gonna get an ounce of blow, and you're gonna get 6 weeks worth of semaglutide upon ordering your coaching package. With
Yeah. 400 instant release Adderalls to help with appetite. You know, I think it's good.
Well, that's why
fat burners when you've got Adderall.
Yeah,
Exactly.
if we can really screw them up, then we pawn them over to you because we've destroyed their psyche as well as their body. It's really a business that we just keep feeding each other with. I think it's beautiful.
Just cross referral.
Yeah, this will really work. Yeah. You guys break them down so that we can bring them up. Love it.
Absolutely.
We're very good at breaking them down.
Good.
We'll just have them party with us for a weekend, and they'll realize that they can't handle it. They're going to want the healthy lifestyle. They're going to be begging. It's like that kid. It's like the kid that, it's like when you smoked when you were a kid, and then your father makes you sit down and smoke the whole pack of cigarettes. You sure you really want to eat all that food? Are you sure? You better finish those fucking crumble cookies.
To teach brand loyalty. That's
why.
Does
that remind me of like some like hostage shit. Okay, hear me out.
Yeah, we're ready.
I think isn't that called Stockholm syndrome?
You guys are just taking clients hostage, taking them to a chair and doing some SEAL shit with food, going eat every single one of these crumble cookies.
Yes.
Yeah, we
want to make a change.
We're basically waterboarding them with cookies. Yeah.
Nice.
Waterboardnutrition.com. Get ready to be overwhelmed with results. Great tagline.
Sink or swim.
Yeah. I like it.
But the thing is I think
sink or sink.
We joke about this, but the reality is like that. These all sound like crazy fucking things. But when people are so desperate for change, and let's not say they're desperate for change. They're desperate for something to change. Because if they were desperate for change, they would probably implement the action steps that they needed to implement in order for that change to occur. And that's where most people are now losing confidence and consider the amount of times I hear the word failure or fail associated to an attempt of trying to change one's lifestyle. It's appalling to me. And I feel for those people because they truly do feel like they're failing at something. But if you actually think about it, and this is where I kind of reinforce people to play the long game, you have plenty of opportunity to right the ship. You're allowed to proverbially fuck up on a daily basis. Even if you did, you're still not going to have any of these acute problems that you think you're going to have. You're not going to gain weight overnight. You're not going to develop type 2 diabetes because of one meal. You're not going to just all of a sudden create a heart condition because you had 5 guys 3 days in a row. None of these things are going to kill you, but they're going to eventually lead to you not trusting yourself to make decisions that you're proud of. Talk about that specific aspect of it, because I think building up a client's confidence in knowing that they can do this stuff on their own without the need for validation is so important.
Yeah. And a lot of it comes down to learning how to validate ourselves. And that comes with not understanding the process, which is why people freak out, right? Because at the end of the day, it takes 3,500 calories to equate to 1 pound of fat. And I'm sorry, but I would be extremely impressed if the average person were able to put down 3,500 calories in one sitting. Like, I would pay to watch that happen. Okay, you don't count.
It's called Thursdays at Aram's.
Okay,
go back and listen to our first 10 episodes that we always recorded on Fridays.
I was
he would give a rundown of his Thursday night food order.
Such a piece of shit.
I just diarrheaed thinking about it.
I have Grubhub Plus, which is the subscription, which is the monthly subscription version of Grubhub.
Put me on your Grubhub account.
I'll give you my login so you don't have to pay for the delivery fees.
Okay, I'll give you my Apple login and then we can just try.
Perfect.
That's how this works these days.
That's
perfect.
Okay. No, but I mean, for the average, like, let's say 5'3" mom that, is just trying to lose some weight. I'm sorry, but you're not going to put down 3,500 calories in one sitting. No, if anything, you're probably chronically under eating, right? And that comes with this fear around food because we don't understand how food works for our metabolism. And this kind of circles me back to what you had said earlier about eating enough, right? 1,200 calories is the recommended caloric intake for a toddler. And you made a post a while ago that I really resonated with. And that was, whoever says that 1,200 calories isn't sustainable for everyone is correct on that, but 1,200 calories could be sustainable for some people. And I think that there's a lot more that goes into that, like chronic illness, if you have an underlying health condition, how tall you are, right? Because if somebody's 4'8", 4'9", 4'10" coming in, 1,200 calories may be their bottom deficit, right? But to the average person, 1,200 calories is probably a lot of under eating. So I can understand why you would be scared of food because food has been the enemy for so long. You eat, you gain weight. You look at a cookie, you gain 10 pounds. Your husband maybe, eats a cookie and loses 5 pounds. Men are assholes. Like, sorry guys, you are. I don't know. This is what it is. But at the end of the day, building your confidence is what allows you to take that next step. It's what allows you to make better decisions. And it's about how we feel in a day, right? And you mentioned that earlier. It's about how you feel. The number on the scale is just data. It's not going to tell the entire story. It's not going to tell you that you're making progress. It's not going to tell you that you're a failure. And what even categorizes a failure? Like, how do you even describe that? Because my definition of failure is completely different than what somebody else's definition of failure is. The problem is that you're setting unrealistic expectations because you don't understand what realistic expectations are when it comes to your health and fitness journey. And this is where working with a coach or working with a professional to help guide you is so imperative, because you are always going to set the bar here when the reality is that the bar is actually here. We can strive for greatness and we can strive to be 1% better each day. I don't think there's anything wrong with having high expectations and goal setting for ourselves. I think it's important. I think it gives us something to work towards. But the problem with this is when you don't reach that because it is so unobtainable, you start destroying yourself in the process, and that never allows you to reach that end goal. Get what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that perspective on failure as well. I think it was Thomas Edison, or maybe, I don't know if it was a real quote from him or not, but people give him credit for the quote of like, I didn't fail 1,000 times when trying to invent the light bulb. I discovered 1,000 ways that didn't work. Yeah. And the amount of times that I'm having a conversation with a client where they overdo it on a weekend or however a week might look, and then they're expressing like, oh, I just want to get back to like eating good because I felt like shit. I'm like, it's good that you screwed up. This is a great failure. Now you started to recognize I don't like how I feel when I ate that stuff, where before they were just so used to feeling shitty. They didn't even know that they felt shitty. Now that they've been like maybe eating better, making better choices, then they have a shitty week and they're like, oh, I don't even want this stuff anymore. It's like the failure's good. These failures are good as far as I'm concerned. So I think that perspective on it is huge.
Well, it brings in the self-awareness piece, and that is what it is. It's self-awareness is everything, and people don't have a basic level of self-awareness to create a change. And that is the missing component. Like we tell our clients all the time, hey, you are going to go eat like an asshole. You're going to have weekends that are shit. You're going to have days that are shit. You're going to have really high highs and really low lows. Because I think it's really hard for people to conceptualize that they're just a human having a human experience.
Yeah.
Right. And for some reason, the humanity aspect has been taken out of health and fitness because everybody's adopted this David Goggins mentality of coaching. Like I love David Goggins, right? Like he gets me so hyped. I listen to him when I'm doing cardio. David Goggins is on repeat in my ear. The first choice.
It has officially stopped motivating me because I've heard it so much. I'm like, relax, buddy.
Because I'm like, I need that dog mentality to push me. But the problem is, it's not like everyday coaches are now thinking that they're 42-year-old client who was just diagnosed with Hashimoto's and is entering menopause with kids. And, I don't know, like a sugar addiction needs a David Goggins mentality when really what she needs is just to eat breakfast and maybe get to bed a couple hours earlier. Like that's going to take people so much further than this all in, all out mentality of right and wrong, because the bottom line is life is short. You want to have a cocktail, have a fucking cocktail. 90% of you aren't alcoholics, right? Like go enjoy yourself. Go have a cocktail, go to a music festival, go live your life, go jump out of a plane. I don't care. Do what makes you happy. But if you're going to continuously live your life in this chronic dieting and worrying about what the scale says and worrying about gaining weight, you're not really living. You're not. And that's no way to live your life. So make obtainable changes that are compounded over chronic periods of time, because that's what this comes down to, is compounded habits. And if you're able to do something as small as just walking for 10 minutes a day, if you're able to walk for 10 minutes a day, every single day, that's going to take you so much further than going all in for 30 days and quitting for 6 months and then restarting this cycle. So do something small that's going to help you become 1% better, and then build and compound those habits over time.
Yeah, it's important in what you just said, knowing why you're doing everything, because a lot of people think, well, what's a 10-minute walk doing? It's like, we're building your confidence. If you can't show up for a 10-minute walk, You want me to write you a 60-minute program for a full body split, like 3 days a week? Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Until you could start showing up for these little things. But no, I'm ready for the big stuff. No, you're not. You're
No,
not
you're
ready
not.
for the big stuff.
No, you're not.
But you're ready for macros.
It's
Yeah.
just this.
As long as you hit them perfectly.
You have to hit them to 100%, or else they're essentially useless.
Yeah.
Like if I hit 98% of my protein and 106% of my carbs and 103% of my fat, I might as well just not even count food. What's the point?
And then to end, for people to learn to end sentences with the word yet. I don't know. I can't figure this out yet.
Yeah,
I can't get this stuff going on yet.
Yeah,
you can't figure it out yet. Like everything else.
But just keep trying, because I think, first of all, practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes progress, and I think we could all agree that there's no perfect when it comes to eating. There's no perfect when it comes to training. There's just the stuff that works for that individual or the stuff that doesn't. And by the way, also be open-minded enough to know that you're going to go through these variable seasons of your life. Like right now, I have an injury. Last thing I'm worried about.
God, we get it. Jesus
Listen,
Christ.
Can I get some goddamn empathy for my fucking audience, please?
God.
You just got to do better.
I know.
We get it. We get it.
But I can't expect to train at the same level of intensity.
If you were serious, you could.
There's just no way. I don't have 4 points of contact through the weights. So do you want me to explain that concept to you biomechanically? Because you don't know.
No, I don't know big words either. So half the stuff you've said, I'm very confused with.
You have a master's in nutrition. You don't have a master's in exercise science.
I do have a master's in exercise science with a focus in sport nutrition. Yeah, that's what the degree is.
Oh, well, then you should know exactly what 4 points of contact is.
Yeah, I'm just saying you could step your intensity up. I've seen you work out. It's embarrassing. Anyway, be an example to your clients.
If you want to hold up my foot while I do my training. But the point of this,
I want to put a piece of wood between your feet and get a sledgehammer, and I'm going to Dolores Claiborne you.
If anybody doesn't know that reference, it's from Misery.
Okay, hear me out.
Yes.
All right, go ahead. We have to do that every now and then and get it out of our system.
What if we just cut the foot off?
Like in Saw?
Like in Misery, in the book, she cut his feet off. In the movie, she did. She cut his feet off. In the movie,
watch that again.
She just broke his feet. So yeah, we'll cut the foot off. Then
Start
what? Yeah. I told him I think he'd be badass if he had one of those like C-shaped lower legs.
Yeah.
Like he was like a runner.
I'd be the fastest person fastest version of myself that I've ever been.
Oh, 5'8", 270 pounds.
You can even
Fast
get
as shit.
270 pounds. But the point of this is that like we have to be able to ebb and flow with these different things that are going to happen in our life. Like if your kids are all sick that week, you're probably not going to end up going to the gym 4 times that week. So that doesn't mean that you failed because you didn't get 4 or 3 or 2 training sessions in that week. That just means, okay, cool. I couldn't put my eggs in the training basket, so I'm going to pull my eggs out of there. I'm going to put them in the nutrition basket because that is something I can control.
Well, let's look at it this way too. How can you be a solutionist to the inconveniences that are happening in your life? Because if you're only telling yourself, oh, I can't make it to the gym, so I can't do any workouts, what can you do in replacement of that? Can you do something small at home? Can you supplement with 30 minutes of stretching? Can you supplement with shifting your focus into your nutrition? And I love that you brought that up, because it's not the end all be all to your journey. It's just an opportunity for you to strengthen other areas of your journey as well, because this is not just about training. This is not just about nutrition. And if that's the only thing that you're focused on, you're missing the entirety of a health and fitness lifestyle. You're missing the entirety of the benefits that this brings to your life. This isn't just train hard and that's all I do is work out, and then I go eat like shit on the weekends, or I go binge drink, or I don't know, whatever your MO is. Look at how you can enhance yourself as a person in every aspect of your life instead of making excuses for yourself. And I love that you brought that up about, oh, the kids are sick. I've got a new mom. She struggled with weight loss. She's really struggled since having her baby, right? She's been a client of mine for 3 years. She came to me looking to better her health, to lose weight, to get pregnant. She got pregnant within 6 weeks.
Wow.
And they've been trying for years. And she's had a little bit of a hard time postpartum. But same thing, had kind of started falling into that trap. Like, kid got sick, wasn't able to make it to the gym. So she just sat down and did nothing. So look at what you can do and how you can be a solutionist. Do you want to be a victim to your problems, or do you want to be a victor? And ask yourself, when you're faced with these inconsistencies or these days that maybe don't go according to plan. Because if you're constantly living your life by things going according to plan, you are going to fail miserably and struggle miserably through your life. So look at where you can be a solutionist, is my opinion on that.
And two things I want to say to that. One, people need to be prepared for being unprepared. I stress this so much with clients. Be prepared for when you're unprepared. What is your backup, maybe go-to meal when you forgot your meal prep, like Aram was referencing earlier? Maybe it is a Chipotle bowl. Maybe it is a wrap or a salad from somewhere. But what's your go-to? Because if you don't, in those moments, it's, I guess I'm getting Chick-fil-A or McDonald's because that's what I'm passing and that's what I'm going to get. So be prepared for the unprepared moments. And everything that you're describing, everything that you just said, we accept this in every other area of our life, except with fitness and food. Your job gets crazy. Hey, listen, guys, job's going to be crazy for the next couple of weeks. I might not be around as much, and you make shit work. In raising kids, it's not always sunshine and rainbows. We know this. It's not like, all right, he's a real nightmare the past few months. I should probably get rid of him and not be a parent. I'm a failure of a parent because my kid's being an asshole because he's 3 years old, because it's the terrible threes, not the terrible twos.
3-year-olds are assholes?
3-year-olds are. Yeah, 2-year-olds, they say terrible twos, but I'm going to go with terrible threes, little pricks.
Yeah, I think as soon as they start walking, make them get a job, start really chipping in.
I'm so for that.
Yeah, you just film them and then they're part of your social media content, and now they're your employee. You can pay them.
I mean, in most other countries, they're already manufacturing things at 3, so there's no reason why we can't be getting kids to start working.
We should expect more. But yeah, we do this stuff in every other area. But then when it comes to food and fitness, one little thing and we're off. We're off the rails.
My opinion,
you adapt in every other situation. Start recognizing that you have the ability to do the same thing. This is just the season where things are crazy. It doesn't mean you quit your job.
What I want to say on top of all of this stuff is if you've been listening to our episodes lately, and what you've probably been noticing is that there's been a massive shift into talking about the psychology behind this process. If you haven't figured out by this point that none of the science is going to fucking matter if your brain doesn't get wrapped around the fact that this is our responsibility, this is about action taking, this is about confidence, this is about having systems in place, if having a relationship with this process that's reasonable. If we're going to keep on leaning on macros and training splits and all these other nuances, we're going to miss the big picture, which is we don't have the mindset surrounding the behavior change to keep this stuff going. So, Sam, to close out this this conversation, because we didn't argue upset. At all. Are you upset?
I'm angry at you.
Just leave a comment. Just leave a comment.
I'm gonna give a negative review.
You should.
You told me I didn't know what 4 points of contact were.
Review.
I feel triggered.
You should, and you should probably binge eat because of it.
Your life should be based around, and all your actions and decisions and words should be based around my emotions and feelings. So go fuck yourself.
I'm going to.
This is our last episode.
I'm going to send you an entire family-sized bag of popcorners, and I'm also going to send you a $50 gift certificate to Chipotle so you can eat your feelings later.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Sam, to help
what the fuck is going on?
Close this discussion out. If you were to give kind of like to the people that you've had the most success with, and so people have some hope for themselves, what is the one characteristic that you've seen be the overarching characteristic of all of your successful clients that people can look to try to emulate?
Or a couple, if it's tough to narrow it down.
No, I'm going to put pressure on her and say one. Fuck it.
Oh, you're one of those coaches. You're one of those coaches.
Yeah, give me the one silver.
Easy Goggins.
Give me the one silver bullet thing that our clients are missing.
Okay, I think that, I know that the number one thing that sets successful clients apart from those that are not successful is the people who speak up and ask questions. They're always open to learning, because the second that we get an ego that tells us that we know everything and we have it all figured out, those are the people that stop progressing, that stop growing, and always end up coming back to us after they've left because they've ended up rebounding. And the people who are quick to ask questions, they're action takers, they're solutionists, they're open-minded. They understand that they don't know everything and that they're still learning, there's still room for growth. And those are the people that are coachable. Because the second that you start telling your coach, or the second that you start thinking you have everything figured out, is the second that you limit yourself from opportunities that are going to allow you to become the best and greatest version of you. Because at the end of the day, like, this is your life. Nobody can tell you what to do. You get to make those decisions. But if you're going to be so close-minded and so closed off from actually receiving and accepting help, you're going to really, really, really struggle. And life is going to hit you very hard, very fast. So to those of you that are coachable, that are open to hearing some hard truths, and also to those that ask questions, you're in a really, really great spot. And you're going to find a lot of success. And I think lastly, too, the people who are willing to take imperfect action.
Yes. That was one of my posts, last week, that people they're waiting for that perfect program, but they fail to recognize what I say. They're waiting. And I said something about the human experience too, which reminded me when you said that earlier. Where the hell is it? While you're busy looking for the perfect program, you're missing out on how wildly successful imperfect is for people. Also, keep in mind, the perfect program still requires learning, hard work, and consistency, just like the imperfect program does. So, yeah, imperfect. People are very, very successful being imperfect.
Yeah. I think all of us in this room would agree because we're all imperfect. So, Sam, electric chair meal, last meal. It could be a combination of things. It doesn't have to be just one singular food item. And then while you're eating your last meal, about to get electrocuted, what album are you listening to?
Okay. Ooh, I think I'm just in a mood today. So this is going to be more like fitting my mood as opposed to how I probably actually would go out. But
so
on
if right now she's getting electrocuted, this is what she's picking.
Okay, so yeah, if I was getting electrocuted right now,
This minute, okay.
I think I'd
surprise, turn around. Lethal injection coming up.
Well, they did bring back the firing squad too, right?
In America?
Yeah, Idaho.
Oh my God. Where? Probably in Kentucky.
Idaho, she said.
I think the Carolinas brought it back too.
Oh, that's smart. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's smart. That makes sense.
I mean, it's not like we're killing anybody that doesn't deserve it.
No.
I think my last meal would don't make fun of me for this. Would be cold leftover filet mignon, but it has to be cold with a little bit of sea salt and A1 sauce.
This is the first time I'm literally ever hearing somebody.
I'm excited because I eat cold steak all the time. I take it out. I never heat it up. Right? She's saying it's the best. Yeah.
It really is.
There's two of us out there.
Yeah. And if you want to like really dry yourself out and have a little harder aesthetic, eat some cold steak with salt.
Oh my God. So anything like sweet to back that monstrosity of a meal up or no?
Oh yeah. Don't even get me started on the sweets. I'm the queen of sweet tooths. I think for sweets, I'd probably go with like a buffet of some brownie brittle from Costco. You ever had brownie?
Love that
sticky
stuff,
teeth.
Yeah, sticky teeth, but brownie brittle. I'd have to go with Cheesecake Factory, some just classic cheesecake.
No specific flavor, just original.
No, just original.
Okay.
Strawberries on top. Probably some SPKs, Sour Patch Kids.
Okay.
Captain Crunch Berries.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, this is. I feel nauseous, but keep going.
Did you just get stoned prior to getting electrocuted?
Yeah, what is happening? Normally, we're the only ones who are ripped off in space during these things.
And then I probably have to say
goodness.
Crack Siete. I don't know if you can see them.
I do like Siete. Yeah.
But they're the Serrano sea salt vinegar chips.
Cold steak, Sour Patch Kids, Serrano sea salt chips, cheesecake.
You're a fucking garbage disposal. I love it.
I want to know, what if we mix
cinnamon
that
rolls.
up?
Oh, cinnamon rolls.
Cinnamon rolls would be good.
Okay.
Cold cinnamon rolls.
No,
Just kidding.
No, they have to be hot. They gotta be hot. Yeah.
Cinnabon.
And what
Oh yeah.
what
Extra
album are you
icing.
listening to, or what artist are you listening to during this?
I think I'd be listening to some AC/DC, some Back in Black, or some Hells Bells.
I was listening to Thunderstruck
Wow.
earlier.
It's the
She's
perfect
like-
way to prepare for death.
She's like singing and pointing at the little Sour Patch Kids. She lines them up like she's doing a firing squad at them. She's like, pew, and she picks it up and eats it. Pew, pew. I like
That's
it.
definitely the most unique answer we've gotten so far. So congratulations on being
Congrats.
on being a weirdo. We love it. I can't thank you enough. This was the perfect way to get people to understand their part in this process and then what they need to do to get out of their own way. And we can't thank you enough for sharing your afternoon with us. I know Jimmy was probably had something important to do today, but he had to cancel it just to be here.
I had a nap lined up. There was a bunch of construction going on, and we didn't know if the school bus would be able to get through and if my son would get home. But I said, fucking kid's gonna have to figure it out. And I came out here and he, I'm assuming he's alive somewhere in the house.
Probably.
Hey, that's good parenting right there.
It is.
Bring that back.
Yeah.
Self-sufficient.
Yeah. He been walking home from the bus as soon as they were allowed. When he was in like kindergarten, somebody had to pick him up. And then in first grade, he was allowed to walk home. Like he's fucking walking home.
Look, I grew up in the desert. We had to walk uphill both ways in the snow.
With no shoes.
With no shoe. Well, one shoe.
One shoe.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why your hips are out of line. That one shoe thing. So you'll be at the Real Coaches Summit in March 2024?
We'll see. Hopefully.
Oh God, non-committal.
This is one of the things when we first start working with clients, we try to get rid of the soft talk, the maybes, the we'll sees, the I'll tries. Okay, we try to develop self-awareness, consistent routines, and strong, firm answers. So we're going to try this one more time.
Do you know your blood type?
Do you know your blood type? And last, so if you do you think that you're going to bye?